Hey, Money Masters. Happy Thursday to you all. I hope that you guys are having an amazing week so far. We're back. This is episode 31. It's part two of To Bank or Not to Bank. If you missed part one that came out last Thursday, please go back and catch it. You can catch it on my YouTube channel, Money Mastery for Her, or you can catch it on my Facebook page, or if you happen to be in the Money Mastery for Her Facebook group, you can catch it there and you can catch it on LinkedIn. Okay. So, several places where you can catch the podcast. But again, if you didn't see last week, go back and get that one. This week, what I want to talk about into bank or not to bank part two is actually what are some things maybe that we should be doing with our money, with everything that's going on, right? And so, right off the bat, I just want to let you all know that this is for educational purposes only. This is not in any way, shape, or form any type of advice for your investing. Okay. So I wanted to put that out there. And as usual, we're going to get started with our crazy money story. Then we'll lead into our topic for the day. Then I will share a couple of upcoming events with you and we'll get out of here. Okay. All right. So for our crazy money story of the week, I wanted to share something a little bit different. So these are, or this particular story is about, something weird, something accidental that happened that made someone rich. Okay. All right. So this story that I'm sharing with you today, this happened in 1998, September 27th, to be exact. Okay. If you're into baseball or if you're not, but maybe you remember this. I know that we were huge into baseball growing up. My mom loved it, and so we watched it a lot. And though in 1998 I had already left the house, I was still watching a lot of baseball, right? So in 1998, September 27th to be exact, Mark McGuire, who played for the Cardinals, I remember him and also enjoyed watching him play. He played for the Cardinals. Um, he had hit 70 home runs, okay, in this baseball game against the Expos, right? Now, wasn't 70 home runs in the actual game, that game, right? Not all 70 in that game, but in that game, he hit his 70th. And it happened at Busch Stadium, this is in St. Louis. And there was a fan, okay? And they say really he wasn't much of a fan, but there was a fan. He went to watch the game with some colleagues. And when McGuire hit the ball, it bounced off the stands into the crowd and bounced into the hands, off the hands of his colleagues and then into his hands. Okay. So the Cardinals, because this was his 70th home run, the Cardinals the officials tried to convince him to hand over the ball in exchange for a McGuire jersey and a signed bat, right? Because McGuire wants to keep the ball, of course, right? So they try to convince him by giving him those things, right? A jersey, a signed bat. But the guy turned it down. He was like, mm-mm. What he requested was to meet the ball player instead, right? Well, the baseball star was not interested in that. So he turned down his request. And so the fan, or not so much a fan, really, here, which is interesting because it's like, if he were a true fan, I think he would have given the ball back. That's just me, because you understand how important these things are to the player themselves to have the ball or whatever relic for some milestone that they hit. But anyway, maybe that's just me. Maybe everybody else would have did what this guy did too. So this guy, because since his request was turned down, what he did was he took the ball to the auction and he sold the ball for a little over $3 million. That's right. He took the ball, sold it for a little over $3 million. Now, y'all want to know what my question is, what my real question is? I mean, that's crazy, right? That he got so much for that ball. But my real question is that this took place in 1998. I'm wondering how much of that 3 mil this guy has left over. That's what I want to know. I want to know, was he smart with that 3 mil or not? That's the real question. I don't know if I'm able to find that out, but I'm going to do a little digging because they do put his name in the article. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm really interested if he took that 3 mil and like expanded it, multiplied it. That's what I want to know. All right. Okay, so that's our crazy money story for today. Let's get into our topic for today. Hey, if you're just coming in the room, say hello. Say hello. If I'm able to see your comments here on StreamYard, I will say hello back to you. If not, no worries, right? I'm going to come back into the comments and make sure that I acknowledge your presence, okay? And if you have questions or anything, if I don't happen to get to them here live, I will come around to them when I review the comments later on, okay? All right, so this is to bank or not to bank part 2. Last week, we talked about everything that was going on. We talked about the bank collapses. We talked about the US and its digital coins. We talked about all of that stuff, right? And we talked about whether or not we should actually have money in the bank at this time. And so I recommended, which I still do, that one has 3 months, at least 3 months of their expenses in the bank, right? If something happens, you need to be able to have something liquid, right? And I also recommended that, hey, maybe you don't want to keep, even if you want to keep a little more than 3 months, because typically it said that you should have about 6 to 12 months of your expenses as like an emergency reserve, right? So I typically say, hey, I have 3 months of that in the bank, and then have another 6 to 12 months in like a cash equivalent, or something very liquid that that you can get your hands on. So I was saying that, all right, maybe maybe you want to put a little bit more than 3 months in the bank. My recommendation was, hey, you may not want to put all of it in the same bank because the FDIC is only going to cover up to so much, right? 250,000. So you don't want to have more than that in any one bank. I wouldn't even have near that amount in a bank. But if that's you, you don't want to have more than that amount in any bank. Okay. So today, what I want to do is talk about, well, what should we be doing with our portfolios right now with everything going on? Okay. And if you're just joining, you didn't see last week's podcast, go and check it out because I'm not going to review like everything that's going on in the economy. I did that last week. Today, I'm strictly talking about your portfolios, our portfolios, and maybe some things that we want to think about doing. And here, I'm going to take a moment just to say again that this is for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice, okay? Because I do not know your personal situation, all right? And because I don't know your personal situation, I'm just speaking to whomever out there is watching live and whomever is watching the replay. This is for educational purposes only. All right. So, for me, I am not waiting to take a look at my portfolio and to rebalance it, right? In fact, I've already started doing that. I've already started rebalancing it, right? We are coming off of 2022, which is a very rough year for the stock market. Ended way down, okay, over 20% down for 2022. And people have realized some big losses, right? So we've got that going on. Now we've got these bank collapses going on and all this stuff. And in between there, sprinkle in, the war and all that stuff going on in Russia and just some other things, right? So this is a good time to look at your portfolios and to rebalance them. And I'm going to share some things that you may want to take a look at, again, for educational purposes only. Okay. These are some things that maybe you want to think about when it comes to rebalancing your portfolio. Okay. This is a good time to make sure that you have a good amount of your portfolio that is liquid. What does that mean? That means that it can convert to cash really quickly. Okay. So not only is that money in the bank, okay. Hello, Apostle. Good to see you today. Not only is that having some money in the bank, but remember what I said, we don't want to put all of it in the bank, right? Because you're not getting any interest there. And I'm not going to keep going there. If you watch me long enough, you already know what I think about banks. Okay. But you do want to have something there. But then you also want to look at some cash equivalent, what I call cash equivalents, right? So again, cash equivalents are securities that are meant for short-term investing. Okay. These are securities that you can convert to cash quickly. Okay. So this means this is not retirement accounts. These are not accounts that, you put money in and can't touch for several years down the road. Okay. We're talking about things that are liquid assets. Okay. Liquid simply means I can turn it into money very quickly. So, what are some of these types of liquid assets? Well, you've got treasury bills, you've got CDs, you've got bankers' acceptances, you've got corporate commercial paper, you've got money markets, you've got all of those things, right? These things are highly liquid, very low risk, right? And a lot of them have what's called short maturities. Maturities means it gets to a place where you can actually cash it in, right? So 6 months, 9 months, a year, anything that is short term is a year or less. Okay. That's what we're talking about. And the less time that it has on it, the more liquid it is, right? Money markets are much more liquid because there isn't like a maturity on it. You can just, go and take the cash out when you need it. All right. So, but those are types of what we call cash equivalents. Okay. Um, I don't know that I actually want to go into detail about what all of those things are that I just mentioned, T-bills, commercial paper, all of that. I think you can, Google it and kind of get an idea because I don't want to get stuck going down that road. But money market funds, short-term government bonds, CDs, all of these things are things that you can, Google and get some information about. Okay. But that is what I call cash and cash equivalents. You can trade them in the liquid markets. You can turn them into cash very quickly. Okay. Very quickly. All right. The next thing that you want to look at in your portfolio, well, let me just say this. The cash equivalents are good for, as I mentioned earlier, like emergency funds. Okay. Really good for that. So if you don't have an emergency fund, these would be good, to work as emergency funds. Okay. All right. Now, outside of cash and cash equivalents, another couple of things that you may consider are cryptocurrencies. And there are a couple of ways that you can go with this. And you might go a couple ways. I mean, I just said that, right? There are a couple of ways that you can go with this. So, one, you can invest in a particular coin, okay? In a particular coin like Bitcoin by itself. Now, I like to use the analogy like these are like stocks. If you buy a stock from one particular company, right? That's like investing in one type of cryptocurrency coin, Bitcoin. You don't want to put all your money in one thing, right? Because if it goes belly up, that's all your money. Okay. So we're talking about your entire portfolio, right? And balancing between all of these things. Okay. So the reason why you might put some money in one particular coin, such as Bitcoin, is to help with when the economy goes through deflation. We are not in deflation right now, but things go in a circle, right? Now, the reason why Bitcoin will help in a situation of deflation is because with Bitcoin, it doesn't deflate, meaning the value does not go down. Why? Because there's a certain amount of Bitcoin that's out there. right? They're not making endless Bitcoin. There's a certain amount that's out there. And so because there's a certain amount that's out there, there's this cap that makes it where the value does not go down. Okay. Think about it. On the opposite end, the dollar that we use, right, is deflating. Why? Because they have been creating more and injecting it into the economy. And so, because they keep creating more, the value of it goes down. Okay. It's just like, you go buy this one of a kind dress, or they say, oh, there's only three of these dresses in the entire United States or in the entire world. Those things, it's going to cost a lot of money because it's one of three, right? Or one of a kind, right? So, it is not going to lose its value because it's like this is the only one of its kind, or they're very few. Okay. There are only 5 people in the world who would have this, right? Same thing that we're talking about here with Bitcoin. Okay. Trying to use these analogies to help you all, understand. So I hope that they're helping. I hope they're not boring you. Okay. All right. So that's when if you put some money in one particular coin. Now the other way to go with crypto is to invest in some type of hedge fund, because the hedge fund is going to keep up when there's inflation, right? It usually performs better than what's going on with inflation. So a crypto hedge fund is when the investors' monies are pooled. It's almost like a mutual fund, so to speak, but the investors' monies are pooled, and then they are invested, okay, or traded rather. They can even be traded. And so with trading, what we know with trading is that whether the market is up or down, if you make the right calls, um, you can profit. Okay. So a crypto hedge fund, particularly in this time, is good to be a part of. Now, you may get out there and you might see like, oh, there's some crypto hedge funds out there, but they are, to get in, man, they want $100,000. Yeah, because hedge funds typically are designed for those who are already wealthy. However, I do know of a crypto hedge fund that anyone can get in. And so if you're interested in that, send me a message, DM, get on my calendar, or whatever the case may be. Contact me, okay? It's too many ways to get in contact with me, so that we can talk about that for your particular situation. All right. Um, so what have we talked about already? We talked about cash and cash equivalents. We talked about crypto, either investing in a specific coin. If you invest in a specific coin, make sure that it is a coin that can that fights against deflation, meaning there's only a certain number of the coin out there, so the value of it never goes down. Yes, tell them again, Apostle, to get on the calendar, okay? Because these things, they can close their doors at any time, to new members, to new investors. So you don't want to mess around, okay? Take advantage of the opportunities that are before you. All right, so that's crypto. All right. Now, what else would I recommend um, that you invest in? Real estate. Okay, real estate. Um, Listen, real estate is just, it is what it is. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you can't lose money in real estate. If you're not careful, you can lose money in real estate, but it's not very hard to, pick up the game and understand it. Really, what that is making sure that you get a property that is appreciating. Okay, the value of it is going up. Okay, or you buy a property. Let's say you're gonna flip it. Make sure that what you buy the property for, you consider how much it's going to take to get the property up, and going, or to renovate it or remodel it or whatever you need to do. You want to make sure that you're going to get a good return on top of what you have already spent. But real estate is, man, it's typically the place to be. Okay, it's typically the place to be. There aren't places too much where you can, get upwards of um 20% return, or or three times or 3x your return or 10x your return, or crazy. But it can be done in real estate, and there's so many ways to get into real estate. Like, you don't have to just do flips. You hear about that all the time. A lot of the shows you may watch on TV are about flipping, but that's not the only way to get into real estate. There's so many other ways that you can get into real estate. In fact, you can have a self-directed IRA in real estate. And if you want to know more about that, reach out to Apostle Juanita Corey Jackson, who's in the comments. You can reach out to her about that. But understand that that is long term, right? So that's one way you can use that for some of your long term investments. And then there are other ways. There's tax liens, there's tax deeds, there's wholesaling, there's rentals, there's all kinds of things, active or passive, in real estate that you can get into. And there's something there that would fit your need and fit your lifestyle and fit your your personality, your desires. Okay, so real estate. Another thing that you want to consider in this time of what's going on, right, is gold and silver. Okay, gold and silver, I'm going to tell you guys, is God's money. Okay, you're welcome, Apostle. It's God's money. Okay, gold and silver are God's money. Now, why do I say it's God's money? Well, they have been around since the beginning of time, and these are things that God created. Everything else that we use as currency or money is man-made. So the dollar that we use, or any paper currencies that we use, whether here in the States or all over the world, right? Man-made. Crypto, man-made. All these other things that, stocks, about all man-made. Okay, but gold and silver, that's God's money. And because it's God's money, it's going to be here, right? And it's also good to have a good portion of your portfolio in gold and silver, especially in times like these. Okay, so you can go to a gold or silver dealer. You may have one in your neighborhood, or you may have to do it online, but you can purchase coins, you can purchase bars, or you can purchase rounds. These are physical gold and silver. They do have gold and silver mutual funds, and they do have gold and silver, securities that you can invest in like that. But listen, I'm just saying physical. Okay, you want the physical stuff. Yes, and I like God's money too. Okay, so don't sleep on that stuff, right? And gold is very valuable right now, costs quite a bit. But listen, if you got to buy a gram at a time, just start little by little, right? Let me just get 1 gram. That's all I can get with what I got, right? Get it, because again, gold and silver, it appreciates, right? It appreciates over time. It's everlasting. It's not going anywhere. Okay, all this other man-made currency and monies and stuff they make comes and goes. It comes and goes, and we can see that as we see how money has evolved over time, right? So we got the digital coins and cryptos here. We got digital coins coming in, but sometime down the road, something else is going to come. Okay, so but gold and silver will always be here, right? Will always be here. So silver is much more affordable for the average person. And I think around October and November, I did a podcast on gold and silver, and I was like, hey, you might want to take a truck and back that truck up and fill it up with some silver, because the price of silver was lower at that time, even than what it is today. And it's still pretty low today. Okay, so if you can't necessarily get gold right now, then get silver. But as I'm saying, like, even if you can get 1 gram of gold, just a little bit at a time, right? The Bible says, how do we build wealth? Little by little, Okay, little by little. So begin to do these things, begin to diversify your portfolio so that when crazy stuff is going on in the economy, you've got things, you're so diversified that it's not affecting your entire portfolio. Listen, some of you, because of what happened last year in 2022, because you only had a 401k or you only had some, stocks and bonds or whatever, you took a major hit, right? And the thing of it is, if you've got about 7 years to recover, like you're not retiring for more than 7 years, then okay, you got some time to recoup. But there were so many of you who you don't have that kind of time to recoup when things like that happen in the market, right? So this is why it's so important to be diversified. Whether you have the time or not, it is so important to make sure that your portfolio is diversified. Okay, so gold and silver and other precious metals. Okay, so those are the things that I would recommend in this day and time and what's going on with the economy. I want to remind you, education, this is for educational purposes only. I noticed I didn't tell you like what percentage of your portfolio or how much of it to get because I don't know your specific situation. And so do your due diligence. Okay. If you go off to study about these things or you begin to invest in some of the things that I've talked about here today, make sure to do your due diligence. Okay. If you decide like, listen, I really want to figure that, I don't want to go and figure this out on my own. It's going to take me forever to learn about all this stuff and how I'm actually supposed to do all of this, then get on my calendar so we could talk about how we can work together so that you can make sure that you are um, that you're building wealth and that your wealth is protected. Okay, and that you're making the best moves possible with what you have. Get on my calendar, should be in the description. Get on the calendar, get on the calendar, get on the calendar. Have I said it enough? Get on the calendar. Okay, don't delay, don't put it off. Okay, um let's just let's figure it out together. All right. All right, so that's our topic for today. If you have any questions on anything I've said, certainly you can drop it in the comments. And if not, great. But if you do, go ahead, take your time, put them in the comments. What I'm going to share with you now are just some upcoming events that a couple of upcoming events that I have. I mean, because there's a few of them, but there are a couple that I want to highlight. So, one of the events coming up in April, this is April 13th through the 15th, the Passion, Purpose, and Peace Summit. This is the first annual for this summit. It is virtual, and guess what? The tickets are free. Okay, they are complimentary. Okay, so grab your ticket. Okay, grab your ticket. You can go to, and I'm going to put the link in the comments as well, but you can go to www.passionpurposepeacesummit.com. The incomparable Dr. Teresa Ann Mosley is the host of this. And again, tickets are free. Get your ticket. And then when you get your ticket, go tell three somebodies. Go tell three somebodies. Okay. Go tell three somebodies. There are going to be plenty of great speakers. I'm one of the speakers, and y'all know their purpose is woo-wee. And then if I could talk about purpose and money, oh my gosh, right? So I'm one of the speakers for the event, humbled to be one of the speakers and excited to share what God has given me to those of you who will be attending. Okay, so that's the Passion, Purpose, and Peace Summit. It's the first annual. It's April 13th through the 15th, and it's virtual. So you do not have to go anywhere. You don't have, and the tickets are complimentary. Come on, come on. Come on. Okay. Like, come on. All right. And then, like Apostle put in the chat, go tell three somebodies. Okay. All right. And then the next event that I want to tell you about, this is coming up in May, and I'm so excited about it. It's the Women for Global Impact Conference, Purpose, Position, and presence. I mean, just those three words alone: purpose, position, and presence. This is happening May 20th through the 21st. Huntersville, North Carolina, as I understand it. This is right next to Charlotte. Okay. So if you're in the area, in the vicinity, and listen, the tickets, listen, nowhere near what they should be. Let me just say that. Okay. Let me just say that off the rip. The tickets are nowhere near what they should cost for what you all are going to get on these 2 days, May 20th and the 21st. Okay. This is hosted by none other than Apostle Juanita Corey Jackson, and also hosted, and the conference director is Elder Joan T. Randall. If you have seen any of these ladies, you already know. You already know. Okay. I don't have to say anymore if you've seen them. If you've not had the pleasure or the to ever see them speak, or to be in their presence or any of that, oh my goodness. And you're going to be in the area at this time, because I can't believe that there's anybody in Charlotte right now that has not been in their presence. Okay. So I'm talking to you people who are outside of Charlotte, but you can get to Charlotte, no problem. Right. I don't care if you're coming from California. Okay. Listen, get there. Okay. Get there. The link for that is bit.ly /women for global impact. That's a capital W. So I am going to also put that in the chat. Give me a second because I don't multitask. Women for global impact. I think I got that right. If I don't, I know that Apostle will correct me. All right. Go to the link, get your ticket. Okay. Then once you got your ticket, go tell three somebodies so they can get their ticket. All right. So that they can be in the house too. I am honored to be one of the speakers. And Dr. Alterisa Good Howard, she is also one of the speakers, and Prophetess Katina Duncan. Listen, these ladies are some powerhouses, right? I mean, you're not going to walk out of there the same. And I know we say this stuff all the time, but I absolutely mean it. Like, leaving that conference 15 years from now, you're going to be looking us up and saying, oh my gosh, when I went to this conference on May 20th and 21st in 2023, this changed my life. And let me tell you how, right? You're going to have those testimonies for us, not just that weekend, but years down the road. So get in the room, Women for Global Impact Conference, Purpose, Position, Presence, May 20th through the 21st. That's in Huntersville, North Carolina. We've put the link in the chat. Get your ticket. Go tell three somebodies. Okay. And so that's what's coming up, and or a couple of the things that are coming up. And so that's it, you guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Wealth Seed, and you've gotten some, good tips on some things that you might want to do with your portfolios during this time. And that's it. Until next time. All right. See you guys. Peace.